Hello, hello everybody. I am wanting a big pot of beans, okay? And there's nothing quite like slow cooked beans with a little bit of pork and a whole lot of flavor. So we're gonna get started right now. I've got two little bone-in pork chops right here on my board that I'm gonna season just really, really well and let them sit on the board for just a minute, let the seasoning kind of soak in. So of course, I'm gonna use my gunpowder seasoning. And you can use salt and pepper, just be very, very liberal with the seasoning and rub it all in because you wanna make sure that it's nice and coated. So a little rub, there we go. Get it really nicely flavored. All right, starting out in my pot, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat up to medium, and I wanna put a little bit of rendered bacon fat into my pot. So I'm gonna start with 2 nice big tablespoons of this rendered bacon fat. And you can certainly use olive oil if you like. This is going to give it a nice smoky flavor, a real meaty kind of flavor to the bean dish. So in my bowl here on standby, I've got about a cup of finely chopped onion, got about half a cup of the herby part of the celery stalk. And there's a little bit of stalk in there too, but I really love the leaves because it just smells so clean and herbaceous, and it's gonna really lift this dish. I've also got about a half a cup of frozen, yes, frozen, green bell peppers. And that's the beautiful thing about some of these vegetables, especially the onions and bell peppers. You can buy them in bulk whenever they're on sale. Chop them up however you like them and put them in the freezer. They break off really easily and nicely, ready to use almost right away. I'm gonna go ahead and put a pork chop in and see if it sizzles. So I'll just turn the heat up just a little bit so I'm at medium high. And I'll put my other pork chop in. So I'm gonna brown these guys really well on both sides. They're not gonna be completely cooked through. I just wanna get some searing, and I wanna get some little remnants, some little fond to fall off of the bones and onto the bottom of the pot. You'll see why in a minute. So while the pork chops are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get half a pound of smoked sausage that I have, and I'm just gonna cut it in half lengthwise, cut it in half again, so that way I've got 4 nice long spears, and I'm gonna chop it up. So as soon as the pork chops are done searing, I'm gonna put the smoked sausage in there and really get that base of flavor. So. I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium-low and let those guys go. Okay, I wanted to get a lot of that pork flavor into the oil, and I did just that. So now I'm going to grab a plate right here, and we'll finish cooking them with the beans. There we go. So typically, you would have like a nice ham hock or something else, like some other kind of smoky, porky element that goes with the beans. I just decided to use pork chops today, and there's a reason, because the beans I'm making today are black-eyed peas, and I just want a little bit more of a milder flavor. I want the fruitiness of the beans to really be able to shine through. So into my pan here, I'm going to go ahead and add my smoked sausage and just kind of toss it a little bit in the oil and start to get that a little crisp up. So this is only going to take about 2 minutes maybe, because you're kind of like flash frying it, and especially since it's cut in little pieces like this, it's not going to take very long. All right, so now we're going to add another layer of flavor, which is where we're putting in our onions, celery, and bell peppers. All right. Or the Trinity. Okay, I want to cook this down until the vegetables get really tender. The onions are going to be kind of translucent, and they're going to start to sweeten up. They're just going to add so much flavor, because I tell you what, bacon and onions, it's like a classic match. I mean, it just goes together. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit to medium, and I want to put just a tiny little pinch of salt in here. So it's going to be about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. There we go. This is just a start. Okay, we're gonna let this cook down for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna add more and more and more. I can't wait. Just look at that. That's an amazing base to what's going to be a fantastic pot of beans. Okay, so I'm stirring it up a little bit. I notice that some of it is sticking to the bottom. Perfect, that's exactly what I want. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic, which is about 2 little cloves if you wanna press it fresh. And while the heat is still in the same temperature on medium, I'm just gonna stir it in and get that garlic really super fragrant. From here, we're going with about a tablespoon of tomato paste. And I absolutely love the tomato paste in the tubes like this because it stores in the refrigerator really super easily. It's super accessible and available whenever you're ready for it. And what this is going to do is accentuate the fruitiness of the beans, and it's going to give the sauce a really good consistency and depth. So I want to cook this with the sausage and vegetables until it starts to turn a pretty deep brick red. It'll take a couple minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Adding to it, I'm gonna put half a tablespoon of my gunpowder spice. The tomato paste is a beautiful brick red color, just like that. So now we're gonna deglaze the bottom of the pot. I wanna put 1 cup of white wine, and if you have chicken stock, use chicken stock by all means. I'm gonna turn the heat down to medium-low, and I'm simply gonna stir and let the wine simmer and reduce. It's gonna sweeten everything up without giving it an overpowering flavor. It's absolutely incredible. So we're gonna let it simmer and reduce and scrape the bottom of the pot too, so you get all those beautiful brown bits that were intentionally left behind, those little flavor surprises. All right, the wine has reduced down. Now I have a beautiful kind of thick sauce. What I'm gonna do now is add in the pork chops from before. Let them just kind of nestle on top of the vegetables, and I want to pour in all of that juice that rendered on the plate as well. Beautiful. Now I have a pound of soaked black-eyed peas. These were dried peas, and I soaked them in water overnight, so these are going right in the pot as well. Lovely. And I'm going to add 2 cups of water. Give it a good stir. Now it's not quite enough water to cover the beans, but that's okay because it will cook down. This is just enough right here. Let's see if I can get you to peek. Just like that. Yep, okay. All right, we're gonna cover this up and bring it to a boil, and we're gonna let it simmer on the stove at a boil. Actually, we're gonna let it boil on the stove for about 5 minutes, and then it's gonna go into the oven. So here we are with the lid. This guy. Okay, we're gonna bring it up to a boil, run the temperature at medium-high, and then we're gonna move on from there. It's been about 10 minutes, and these guys, they're not at a rolling boil, but they are boiling, which is exactly what I want. The fruitiness of the black eyes, it just comes right up in the aroma. So what we want to do now is taste the liquid. We need to see if it needs any more seasoning, if it's at how I like it. So here we go. The wine gives it a really nice sweet note to it. I can taste the earthiness of the beans too. It smells really floral, and I like the heat on the back end, so I put just enough gunpowder spice in there. It does, however, need a little pinch of salt, so I'm going to put maybe half a teaspoon of salt in here. And that's just going to amplify all of the flavors and just make everything pop that much more. So give it a good stir. Taste it again just to make sure. That is a rich, hearty flavor. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna kill the heat. And now it's gonna go into the oven, so we're gonna cover it back up. And my oven has been preheated to 450 degrees. So what we're going to do is put this in the oven, turn the heat off, and let the residual heat in the encompassing area of the oven cook these beans. And in about an hour, they'll be done. They'll be perfect, they'll be tender, they'll be creamy. They will be everything that you've ever dreamed a bean to be. Okay, here we go. Set your timer for 1 hour, and then we're gonna be right back to check the results and feast on the beans. All right. Okay, it was just enough liquid because you don't want the mushy, you don't want it soupy. This is perfect. This is what it looks like coming out of the oven, right? It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. There's just enough liquid. And those pork chops that we put in there, yes, they had bones. The meat is gonna fall right off. So simple. Now those are some beautiful beans. Are they not? Have to have a taste. All right. Oh my God. The texture is just perfect. They're just a tiny, littlest snap to the pea. Super tender. Super fragrant. Oh my word. They're kind of fruity a little bit with that herbaceousness and the celery that we put in there and the heat on the back end from that gunpowder spice. This is incredible. Oh my God. Never have I ever been happier to have a pot of beans like this. It's nuts. Okay. On to the pork chop. So check this out. Okay. So you have this pork chop here. Just like this is the whole thing, but look at the meat, how it's just coming right off. You know you want some. You have to have some. Okay. Beans with a little bit of pork. Wow. That's all I can say. That pork is so sweet. It's just the right amount of meat, the right amount of texture. Complements the beans so well. The flavor is unbelievable. I'm not kidding. I need to make some croutons, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do next. So my oven is heated to 350 degrees, and I did bake some fresh bread earlier today, and I already tasted it, so you're gonna see. And I wanna cut about 4 nice long slices. About 1/2 inch thick, I think will do it just fine. So my 4 slices, I'm just gonna line up on my pan right here, just like this. I have some softened butter that I'm gonna take a nylon pastry brush, or you can even use the back of a spoon, that's fine too. And I want to generously spread butter on all 4 pieces. So I've got butter on all 4 slices. I'm gonna hit it with just a sprinkle of salt. Now I'm gonna hit it with a little granulated garlic, but I want a super light sprinkle. Just a bare dusting, there we go. This is gonna go into my oven at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. I want it super crispy, super toasty. All right, it's been 20 minutes, nicely golden brown, super buttery, little salty, little garlicky. These are the perfect croutons. Okay, so I'm gonna cut these croutons into strips like this. I wanna try and get the pieces of toast to be about the same size as the pieces of the peas. Super crunchy, I love it. Yeah. Let me get some beans in here. Oh, man. And a little bit of pork and sausage. Oh my. Yeah, there we go. And I want just a little bit of the juice in there as well, why not? Awesome, yeah. Throw in some croutons. Here we go. That is how you do black-eyed peas. Woo! My spoon. So here you have it. You have the black-eyed peas. You've got the sausage. You've got a big old piece of pork in there that's just so tender. Look at this. Oh, man. That's the bite from heaven right there. Look at that. The butteriness of the croutons just adds another dimension of flavor. It soaks up just a little bit of that juice that's in there. It's perfect. This is just one of the best heartwarming bowls of food ever. So anytime, craving beans, cold weather, stormy weather, it doesn't matter. Sunshiny, bright outside, every day is a good day. for beans. The Kitchen Bravo way. All right, eat up, guys, because life is a bowl of beans.